Local Outbreak with IPMNation.com.
This is Luke Dimond, and you're listening to Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet, IPM Nation.
I can feel the darkness. I can sense the absence of sun. Numb to the point of exhaustion. Wave upon a wave, it's just begun. You've got me thinking it's a long way down, but my feet hardly even left the ground. You've got me high, I feel so high. Though your smile is something I adore, a relationship is something I just can't afford. You've got me high, I feel so high. Can you tell I've had something? Can you tell I've had something? Can you tell I've had something on my mind? Can you tell I've had something? Can you tell I've had something? Can you tell I've had something on my mind? And I'll be right back at it again. Back to the start when we were friends. I bit off more than I can chew. I pray to God I won't lose you. Oh, oh. You've got me thinking it's a long way down, but my feet hardly even left the ground. You've got me high, I feel so high. Though your smile is something I adore, a relationship is something I just can't afford. You've got me high, I feel so high. Can you tell I've had something? Can you tell I've had something? Can you tell I've had something on my mind? Can you tell I've had something? Can you tell I've had something? Can you tell I've had something on my mind?
All right, everybody. Joining me now on Local Outbreak is a gentleman who has not been with us for a couple of years, but a lot has changed, and not only career-wise has he advanced, but geographically as well. In fact, he's joining me by telephone all the way from Hollywood. Here is Luke Dimond. Mr. Dimond, how are you, sir?
Great, man. How are you, Matt?
Good, good. It's been, we were kind of talking off air about how it's been a couple of years, and it's funny because, I went back today and I was listening to the first interview that we did a couple of years ago, and it made me chuckle because I actually say during the conversation, yeah, we'll have to have you back in a couple of months when you've got some more tunes, and then we just never did. But it was right after. Yeah, it was right after Birthday had come out. Your breakthrough single that you had written for your fiance, and then and that was getting big. And then but what if you let's just dive right in. I mean, like I said, you're all the way on the West Coast now, and what's been going on with you? Catch us up.
So I kind of moved out here. I've been here for a year now, actually, just over a year. I moved out here to do production and kind of pursue the back end of music, as well as, promoting myself as a musician.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed. But I mean, things have just been crazy. I mean, obviously, when you move to a place like Los Angeles and Hollywood, it kind of sets not a standard, but almost like it just really puts a fire under you, and it keeps you being creative in the best means, really. But basically, I've been coming here, going to school for recording. Actually, I'm about to graduate. I graduate next month.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you, man. Thank you. And the move to LA was really scary at first for New Hampshire, because it is so far. It's like really the opposite side of the country.
Yeah.
But I think the scariest part for me was just kind of the leap, like really just thinking about actually doing it. And once I did it, things kind of just came into place, and everything's been really great. It's there's just so much going on. I've been working a lot out of studios with larger artists and larger labels and things like that, writing songs and recording other people, as well as busting out new songs for myself, and 3 of which I think you're going to hear on the show tonight.
Absolutely. What was this? This move that you made, was this something that you had always kind of had in mind, or because it didn't come up at all? At least I don't think it did during our first conversation that you had maybe been planning or at least thinking at the time about doing this. But so
yeah, and it's funny that you say that, because in the last show, I believe I was talking about going into the studio in New York or Connecticut and actually recording songs, and one of the songs is actually one of the reasons why I decided to move. The song itself, it's called "I'll Be Gone." It's about a realization in my life about like kind of the momentum of my music career, and having it ultimately be up to me and kind of no one else at this point in my life. And so it caused me to sever ties with some of the things that may have been holding me back a little bit. But in the same sense, it gave me this forward momentum. And the song was actually about moving to Florida, which is funny, because that was my original plan with writing the song. But things changed, and Hollywood put some stars in my eyes, and I ended up out here, which is great.
Ever since I was a child, I dreamt beyond the pines, wondered what else was out there besides them cold New England nights. And when you wait, I will be gone, beyond my way to a brand new start. I'll take the planes, trains, and cars, no matter how near or far. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm glad I am. If you met me on the other side of the horizon of pine, I'll be waiting under the palm tree, casting shadow from the Florida sky. When you wait, I will be gone, beyond my way to a brand new start. I'll take the planes and trains and cars, no matter how near or far. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm glad I am. Beyond my way to a brand new start. I'll take the planes, trains, and cars, no matter how near or far. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm glad I am. Glad I am.
Did you, because you did talk during the first interview too about going to school, as you mentioned.
Yep.
So did you do Did you do some of your education here and then move, or did you move there and then start school?
Yeah. I went to NHTI actually in Concord for computer programming.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did before. And I was kind of working in the industry for a little bit, just under a year, I think. And I kind of just realized that, again, severing the ties that I felt weren't right for me at the time. That was one of them at the time. And I kind of just needed to do something that was kind of more satisfying on the grand scale of my life rather than, my wallet or anything like that. So I made the move, and, like I said, it was scary at first, but it has paid off tenfold since I've gotten here, so in every way possible. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and good for you for, having the courage to make that move because, like you said, it's really, I mean, you can't make much more of a move than all the way to the other side of the country. But also, too,
oh, I know.
The situation that you found yourself in, I think that happens to a lot of people who don't necessarily do anything about it, where they've, they've started a career, that they thought was ideal for them or whatnot, and then they kind of realize they're not happy.
Yeah, and it's almost like one of those things where, like this is great that I'm doing this, and this is great for my future, but maybe not right now. Mm-hmm. It was one of those things. Like I'm still definitely 100% a computer nerd. There's no denying that. But in the same sense, I feel like I wasn't ready to be working that 9 to 5 when I had so much hunger for so much more experience and things like that. I was writing songs about wanting to move away and wanting to pursue, the things that really mattered to me, but I wasn't doing anything about it. And I think that kind of helped me realize that I really needed to, as much of a cliche as it is, I needed to be true to myself and do the things that really made me happy. And if I have any advice for anyone, it's just, the leap is the hardest part. It's the scariest part is actually taking that first step. And once I got to Hollywood, I was like, wow, I was maybe 2 days away from being like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this, and it was the best decision I've made in my life, and I wholeheartedly stand behind that. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think that it's much easier said than done, for sure. But I mean, I put myself in the right situation, and I believe that anyone can do that.
Absolutely. So obviously, we're playing some of your music tonight, and you've been, you've been continuing to create music. But what else? Now you mentioned you're doing a lot of songwriting, so you've been writing a lot of songs for other people.
Exactly. Yeah. So out here, that's kind of a big market. LA and Nashville. Being able to write songs and pitch them to bigger artists, and basically they release them using their name, and people will always like say that this is against the rules or whatever, that artists don't write their own stuff. But realistically, it's more of a collaborative process than, hey, this person wrote a song and you're going to release it. It's I get to sit in the studio with artists that I've been listening to on the radio in New Hampshire, being like, wow, these guys have got it going on. And then now it's crazy. I'm sitting in studio sessions with them and writing records that have my name on them. And it's a super fulfilling feeling, to be honest. Yeah,
that's wild. Tell me about as far as you talk about the process of you write the song and then you pitch it. I mean, what does as far as pitching it, is there an agent who does that for you, or do you literally yourself have to kind of shop these around, or how does that work?
So typically there's a music publisher involved. The biggest music publishers, especially in the LA area, are Universal Music Group, which is, Universal, their like music section, basically. They also do movies, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then there's Warner Music Group. And then not to be confused with Warner Music Group, there's Warner Brothers. So they all do the writing and publishing aspects of the music that you see come out on big labels. And those are the companies that songwriters like myself work for to push music through and get them into the hands of bigger artists or get into sessions with bigger artists and kind of help them, put their ideas and make them kind of a reality on a hard copy or, even just a digital release, which is super crazy, man. It's I don't know. It's great. It's great. It's like I said, this is something I didn't even know about until I came out here.
Yeah.
And connections really aren't everything. I think that once you get out to LA, I think that the connections will come naturally. Because like I said, I moved out here, and the second you get here, it's just go. Like there's just a fire under you that says, hey man, you got to do something. You got to do something. So the writing aspects of being able to write for other people was originally secondary to, the music that I was writing for myself. But it became more of a collaborative thing than really the pitching. I would actually be in the sessions with a lot of artists, helping them write songs, and also, recording the sessions and things like that. But yeah, it's a big process, but it's honestly, it's super interesting, and a lot of people don't know about it because you kind of have to see it to understand. But I mean, it's just how it works, and it's super satisfying to be part of that process.
When you when you've written something that someone else ultimately is going to be recording, is going to be the artist who releases it, does it ever are you ever surprised, or does anything ever that you've written ever kind of turn out differently when it becomes the final product, and you kind of go, wow, that's not really what I had in mind?
Yeah, that's the golden question, and I love to answer this actually, because we've actually had, for example, I won't mention any names. We had an artist come in who originally she was an X Factor and American Idol contestant, and she came in and she kind of has this country rock vibe going on. But she said, hey, I really want to branch into the pop industry. So she had that signature sound to her voice that kind of matched the countryside or even just the singer-songwriter stuff. And then just out of nowhere, our team kind of just put together tracks that came out, different than I thought they would be, but way more different than she thought they would be, because, she came in with this perception of her music being, the way it was before, maybe with a little bit of a touch, but we completely transformed the project into something that, from start to finish was just wow. If you heard the first demo and then heard the final product, you would be like, this doesn't even make sense how much it changed. But in the same sense, that it's just how the process works, and for the most part, it's always for the better. It's when you have more collaborative minds, and when you have people who are kind of mixed across genres, it helps that process, like you're saying. The start product to the end product just significantly change, and it's really fascinating, to be honest.
Sure, yeah. No, absolutely. And has anyone recorded anything that you've already released yourself? I know that probably doesn't happen much, but...
No. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I songwrite ends up on my SoundCloud. Usually the stuff that, I write and release, actually release, is up on iTunes and Spotify. All my music's on there. But a lot of the time, and it's open to the public, I don't hide anything from anyone. I have a catalog on my SoundCloud, and some of those songs may eventually end up somewhere. But usually, like I said, a lot of the sessions where I'm doing songwriting is we show up, the artist has some ideas, and then we cultivate those ideas from start to finish, and whether it be a day or a few days. So usually demos hardly ever exist. I do write a lot and then do demos and then pitch them, but mostly it's just recording in the studio start to finish, really, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if that answers the question. I think it does. But
yeah, no, absolutely. And in terms of collaborating with others and writing songs, are you dealing in a variety of genres, or is there a common thread? Because I know that with your background, for example, your solo material sounds very different from a band that you used to be in. We talked about on the previous interview, Anchor Lines, completely different things. So I know that you have that versatility to do different genres of music. Does that come out in these in this work that you're doing now?
Absolutely. I mean, being versatile in lots of genres is definitely really beneficial in LA. And it's really good because I have a team of people, and I feel like in some of the areas that I may not be as strong. Say if somebody came to me and needed a hit country song right now, I have a friend who is on my team who is better at writing country than I am, and it's still a collaborative effort. But yeah, being versatile in all these different genres is absolutely crucial as a songwriter. I've actually I've done hip hop songs, I've done trap songs, I've done pop songs, we have done country, really anything across the spectrum. You can't really say no. If someone wants you to help write their songs, if anything, it's a learning experience to kind of branch out of your comfort zone. So as far as a musician and the versatility of me being able to work cross-genre, moving to LA has had a significant impact on that. And so the answer is yes. I think that there are definitely some hiccups with that, but I think it's all a challenge, and that's another thing where the fire is under you, and you just gotta do it, and you gotta learn, and it helps you really grow as a musician too.
Yeah, well, geez, I mean, you've certainly got the right attitude for it, and so much, I mean, not just in the kind of career that you're pursuing, but in life in general, so much of what helps us to grow, and evolve is just being able to step out of our comfort zones. And, like I said before, like a lot of people, they get into a career that they're not happy in and whatnot, and then they don't, by being afraid to step out of their comfort zone, they don't get to really do what you're doing, which is what you're
exactly.
passionate about. And that's what I think life is all about, is finding something that you really love, and then inevitably, if you love what you do, you're most likely going to be successful at it because you're passionate about it. So
exactly, and like you're saying, I think like I said before, the leap is the scariest part. From the outside of the picture, my resume may look extraordinary to some people, but it's really not. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, like, years ago, I was writing songs in my basement and paying a lot of money for studio time. I've been on the other side of the spectrum, and it's been years, but in the same sense, it's like I took that leap, which really anyone can. And I wouldn't put the rest of my accomplishments into the hands of luck, but in a place like LA, it really is. You know what I mean? It's, if you work hard, and like you said, if you're passionate about something, you will persevere really any challenges that kind of come to you, and it's great. I think a lot more people need to realize that, but I mean, that's one of those things where you learn in time. Like I said, for 3 or 4 years was writing music and didn't really see myself doing much more than that. And then I kind of had a realization that, in itself presented an opportunity to move away and kind of just try something new. And it was the best thing I ever did.
The demons inside you, they whisper in your ear, I can feel the fire around you when you're near. Lipstick stains on your cigarette, smell of whiskey on your breath. One more drink will do you right in. Will you sleep? There's no telling. And I will hope for brighter days, for sleepless nights. And you don't regret a thing, no. Until my heart don't hurt no more. 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 The demons inside you, they whisper in your ear, I can feel the fire around you when you're near. I don't even feel like you care. When you look in the mirror, no one's there. As the demons whisper, lipstick stains on your husband's neck, the smell of perfume in your bed. One more time will do you right in. What you do, there's no telling. And I will hope for brighter days, for sleepless nights. And you don't regret a thing, no. You are your worst enemy. Walking down the path to your own destruction. Maybe you will learn someday. You reap what you sow, and now the demons inside you, they whisper in your ear, I can feel the fire around you when you're near. I don't even feel like you care. When you look in the mirror, no one's there, as the demons whisper.
And what about now? Are you also doing some production work specifically where you're producing artists, or is that something you only do a little bit? Or
Yep, that's actually how I started, was as a producer.
Oh, okay.
Because, coming out here and being able to, run the studios and all that stuff is definitely crucial. So I actually am going to school for that right now. Like I said, I graduate next month.
yeah,
And that process has kind of taught me how to go into a studio and just make the product from start to finish. But in the same sense, a lot of these artists are also looking for you to just help them pull the records together. So if you can have the production value and the equitable writing credit in the song, that's it's you've become so invested in this project that if it does really well, or if it if it does really well, you get a big amount of satisfaction from it. And then if it doesn't do well, then that's just another one of those challenges that you persevered and you grew as a musician or a producer or as a songwriter. It's just there's no losing in this job field. There really isn't. It's crazy.
Yeah, that I was kind of thinking that too as you were saying that even if something doesn't do well or isn't successful, which is subjective anyway, but even if it's not successful in according to somebody else's metric, regardless, you have the experience of having done that, and every little bit of experience is helpful to you. So you really can't lose in that regard.
Exactly. That's and that's the mindset you have to go about it too, because a lot of the times, a record not doing well may not mean that it didn't make sales or anything like that, because like you said, that's very subjective. But a lot of the time, you'll write these crazy good songs. You think they're amazing. You work so hard at them. You take a 70-hour studio slot and you write this track, and then it never sees the light of day. And you just, at first, you may feel a little bit bummed, but then you have that track on your computer, and you can just listen and say, "This is one of the best things I ever did." And I learned A, B, C just from doing this song. I think that's much more of a valuable thing as an up-and-coming producer and artist. I think that there's always room to grow, and there's always going to be that record where you learn something. And I think every project you learn something new. And I think that sometimes the ones that never get released are the ones that you're like, wow, I learned so much from this record. It's like, this next one, I'm going to integrate the same amount of effort and the same mindset I did in the last one into this one, because I think I can even do better, and I think that's a very valuable mindset to have in the creative industry. No doubt.
And have your career goals changed at all now that you've, obviously your experience out there has taken you in a little bit different direction than you might have expected. Do you still have a strong desire to have a successful solo career as an artist yourself, or has that been kind of tempered by these other opportunities that you found? Or
I think these, as far as a songwriter and a singer-songwriter, as my solo career is going, I think that they're very closely intertwined, and I'm trying to keep it that way.
Yeah.
I think that my focus on them is about the same, because a lot of the songs that I write, especially the ones that don't see the light of day, I'm still able to release those on my own platform, which is really great. But in the same sense, it's not one of those things in LA that I'm very, very full speed ahead about. I still write every day for myself and everything. But when I was in Anchor Lines, I was touring a lot and I was all over the place. And that may not be where I'm at nowadays, as far as even with my solo career. I may not want to hit the road and sleep in a van with overnight in like Walmart parking lots and things like that. But
right.
In the same sense, I think I get the same amount of personal development and in career value in just even releasing the songs on iTunes and Spotify and just seeing how they do. I love seeing Spotify because I can see who's listening, where they're listening, and all this stuff, and just seeing people from countries all over the world listening to my stuff is just enough satisfaction for me to be like, okay, I better come out with 3 more records. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's great. I really like it.
That's got to be wild, seeing people from other countries checking out your music.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy, and it's even better too, because sometimes they'll even reach out and they'll just be like, hey, like, I don't know how I found you, maybe like on some Spotify playlist or something, but yeah, I mean, technology has gone so far to whereas distribution now is accessible to anyone with a computer, rather than having to go into a record store and buy a CD to listen to the songs. I think that it's extremely crucial to have your music accessible to everyone in the world, because it does pay off. I had a guy from like Sweden hit me up and just say, hey man, he's like, I found your records, like these are really, really great. If you ever come to Sweden, you're like, I would love to meet you, and stuff like that is just like, that's super cool. Like, even on, like, I'm not a big artist at all, but like that happens and it's just like, how did they find me? Like, it must have been like a weird part of the internet to find, a local artist from New Hampshire. And I just think that that's super satisfying to me, really.
Yeah. See, I'm old enough to remember a time when, an artist would, release an album, and, when before the internet was big, and it was all, what we thought of at the time as the traditional business model, release the album, you go to the store,
yep.
You buy it, they go on tour, eventually they release another album, and the internet kind of turned everything on its head, but I think for the better, ultimately. Because now you have all these other ways to market your music. Is that, this might sound like an odd question, but where you are now in LA and interacting with all these industry people, are there still people you run into who just kind of don't get it, even at this point, that you're never going to put that genie back in the bottle, it's never going to go back to the way it used to be? Because I know for a fact there are still people who pine for that old business model. I hear I'll hear older artists complain about it on podcasts that I listen to or whatnot. Oh, you can't make any money now, and this and that, which obviously isn't really true. They're just not, they're just kind of refusing to adapt. But do you run into that out there? Artists who are still kind of stuck or not wanting to adapt to this new paradigm, which isn't even really new anymore?
Yeah. Definitely. I would say, I mean, as an artist myself, I see why the business model now may not be in the best interest of the local starving artist.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, there are so many ways that a musician can make money. It's much harder to get a plaque on your wall that says you sold 1 million copies, because people simply aren't going into record stores and buying records anymore. Or they are, but not as much as they used to.
Right.
But in the same sense, Spotify is, I mean, if you really have a lot of people listening to your music, it's a good way to earn money. So that adds to the business model aspect of that. And then one of the biggest things, I think, is YouTube, because YouTube pays a lot to the musicians. And in turn, it's really an investment, because they're paying an artist, and they're paying you because you have lots of views on your videos, and in turn, that's making artists create more and more music. And I think that's great. Like, it's just as motivating to sell records than it is to have not really a commitment, but if once you see that people are, like I said, like when the guy from Sweden hit me up, that gives me like motivation to be like, okay, I need to come out with more, because this is working. You know what I mean? And in the same sense with YouTube and things like that, which I think is the top of the tree right now, besides album sales.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really it just serves as motivation, and it fuels creativity. And, obviously those things are monetized too. So it's not like the artist can't make money anymore. There's definitely ways. It's not the same as it was in the 90s or the early 2000s,
Sure. I mean, I remember when, when Napster first became a big deal. And
that was really when the record business started to disassemble a little bit. But that's when the business model really needed to change, was, the times of Napster, and then I think it was followed by LimeWire and things like that. And I think that, was LimeWire? Yeah, LimeWire was after it, yeah.
I think so.
But it just, what's that?
I think so. I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah. But that's when the transition really started to happen. But, I mean, definitely now streaming is at an all-time high. Everyone has Spotify or, Apple Music and things like that. And those are the most popular stores that distribute your music to as well. So it's just, I don't know. Like I said, there's definitely ways to make money off of music. It's not the same as it used to be, before somebody, everyone expects in some industries more than others to, as soon as they release an album that, a week later they're going to be driving a brand new car and they're going to have a budget from a label for the next album. You know what I mean? And it just simply doesn't work like that anymore. Because not only are things different, but record labels aren't really taking risks anymore because, records really aren't selling. So, I don't know. I think that, if anything, it should serve as motivation rather than being discouraged to a lot of people, because I know that that's a thing as far as how much money can be made. Because, you got to think of it in two aspects. There's the artistry of it, which is, the most important part. And then there's the back end, which is the music business. And, both can be cultivated together to make, something that is a self-sustainable project. And I think that's what everyone needs to see, especially in LA. It's crystal clear out here, but anywhere else, it's a little bit of a gray area. But yeah, the business model has changed, but I don't think it's much for the worse, because new things are coming every day and it's evolving every day. And, it's being evolved by big corporations, but a lot of them are musicians, so they understand how it works. So, I don't know, it's truly fascinating, really. Yeah,
absolutely. And plus, too, the way it is now, it's and anybody can put something out there. Anybody can put anything on YouTube, and so
yep.
Because you benefited from that with and again, I know we covered this the last time we talked, but just briefly with that song "Birthday" that you put out.
Yep.
I remember you saying that you were really surprised. You had written it for your fiance, and then, but it ended up taking off in a way that you never expected.
Exactly, and that's an example of, that was truly, and I mean, most of my songs do. That was truly something I just wrote. That was something I wrote from for lack of better terms, from the heart. And then all of a sudden, these people are like, "Yo, I understand this," and I'm like, "Wait, how?" You know what I mean? It's like, I wrote this, but in the same sense, it was super cool, and I got the same reaction from my song "I'll Be Gone" because it had such a a positive message about, like what we've been talking about is, taking that leap. Mm-hmm. And I think that, that is another reason why those things have, done so well, is I think that I was at a point in my life where things that were happening to me and the things that I was thinking about are things that everyone my age is thinking about, and everyone is enduring at my age. But I think that really, having the honest artist is extremely important, because then, so many people will understand and so many people will be able to relate to the songs.
Flowers to put on your shelf. They're not as pretty as you, but I hope to God they'll help. Put a smile on your face, the one that lights up my world. Solid proof that you are the most beautiful girl, so I'm gonna hold on to what keeps me warm, and baby, that is you. Please know that I wrote this song for your birthday, but just so you know, it doesn't have to be your birthday for me to love you. Sends me to a warm, calm place, destined spend my life gazing into that pretty face. I'll sit here and wonder if you're feeling the same warmth in your heart and the calm in your brain. So I'm gonna hold on to what keeps me warm, and baby, that is you. Please know that I wrote this song for your birthday, but just so you know, it doesn't have to be your birthday for me. So I'm gonna hold on to what keeps me warm, and baby, that is you. Please know that I wrote this song for your birthday, but just so you know, it doesn't have to be your birthday for me to love you.
So you graduate in a month, and then what's the plan? Are you going to probably just continue on the trajectory that you are?
Yeah, definitely have plans to just keep songwriting. But I don't know. I'm kind of in the same spot that I was before moving to LA. It's not like I don't plan on moving home, but I just kind of want to see where life takes me. If I have more opportunities to work, then I will. I had an opportunity come to me just a few months ago to actually go and record a couple artists in Finland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I applied for my work visa in Finland, and they actually denied it.
Oh.
But, that's one of those opportunities where I pretty much leaped as soon as I had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I have that courage to do that, and there's no telling what will happen, after school. So I don't even know. I don't even know how to answer that. I would say that I'll stay in LA until opportunity kind of arises, and then regardless of how crazy it sounds, you might see me doing something crazy. Like some people might be like, "This dude is out of his mind," like But yeah, I'll definitely jump on any opportunity that arises from my career endeavors that I have going on.
And your new music that we've been featuring tonight, are these part of any kind of an album or collection, or are you just putting out singles at this point for your material?
Yeah, I'm releasing a lot of singles. I am planning on writing just a short CD, but there's just so much time to be invested into writing a cohesive CD and releasing it.
Yeah,
I'm really into just doing singles because I think that you can be much more consistent, and people love consistency, especially the consumer, by releasing singles. And as cheesy as it sounds, I'll record all these songs, and when my distribution says, "Hey, are you ready to put one of these songs on, iTunes or whatever?" I literally will go through the list and just think in my head, how am I feeling today? What type of song do I want to release? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I really enjoy doing the singles.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent. And very, very important, of course, we want to make sure people know where to go. Where's the best place to go online to keep up with everything that you're doing, check out your music, etc.?
Okay, yeah, definitely. I have a website now. I don't think I did last time, but www.lukedimond.com. LukeDimond. There's no A in diamond.com.
Yeah.
That's my site. It has a lot about my production as well as my solo music, so it's kind of an combined force there. And then obviously there's my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Luke Dimond. Yeah, and I have, a contact page on my website, and that's how it's easiest to contact me usually. But also, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but the 3 songs that are playing tonight, whoever sends me an email will get the 3 songs for free. So
there you go.
my email is info@lukediamond.com. Again, that's info@lukediamond.com. And yeah, I don't know. I like to spread the love, especially to my friends in New Hampshire.
Yeah, yeah. No, we appreciate it, man, and I'm glad. Until you had gotten in touch with me the other day, I didn't realize that you were out in L.A. now, and then I go online and I look and I was like, wow, he's doing fantastic. This is awesome. So
it's actually really funny because my friend Matt Blanchett, who's in Paper Monsters,
yep,
he was on the show, and one day he just sent me the clip and was just like, hey, I mentioned you, man. So I was listening, and I was just like, oh, man, I miss Matt and Matt. You know what I mean? Matt and Matt.
Yeah.
So, it made me think, and it was really cool because you guys had talked about Anchor Lines, and you had also talked about me, too, which was kind of cool. But, yeah, it made me, kind of wonder if you had still – I knew you were still doing the show, but I just hadn't talked to you. So I was just like, you know what? Let's try this. And then all of a sudden we're like, all right, let's go. It's go time.
And now you can tell him that you mentioned him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to send him the clip too. He's going to be excited. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he'll be like, stop saying my name.
No, he's great. He's doing really well too. I really like that project, Paper Monsters, a lot. But
oh man, I love it.
Yeah. Well, listen, Luke Dimond, thank you so much. Congratulations on everything you've got going and your upcoming graduation. And
thank you.
This has been great, and we'll have to. We will not let another couple of years go by before we do this again.
Yeah,
this
right.
time.
I won't let it happen.
All right.
Do real months this time. Okay.
There you
It's
go.
a pleasure talking to you, Matt.
All right, Luke. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Sad story when a family's loved one dies. An angel got its wings while the grieving family cried. A heart filled with pain, so they took their own lives, consumed by the demons built up inside. Hey, you, we value your life. Put our hands down to lift you back up. Hey, you, parents, sons and daughters whose futures turned to gray. They lost themselves along the way. The pictures fade to black and white on the funeral day. So lay down the pen that kills, throw the letter away. Hey, you, we value your life. Put our hands down to lift you back up. Hey, a heart filled with pain. So they took their own lives, consumed by the demons built up inside. Hey, you, we value your life. Put our hands down to lift you back up. Hey, you.
Local Outbreak with IPMNation.com.